Hi, it's Danielle Price from She Will Shine. Thanks for joining us on the She Will Shine podcast today. We're sitting with the lovely Kate O'Mealy.
Hi.
So Kate is a copywriter from Oh My Word, and Kate's going to share a little bit about her journey with us today. So Kate, when you first started on your career path out of uni, what did you kind of start with?
So my first real job, my first proper real job, was second year at uni. So my cousin worked at a finance company, and she said, "Do you want a job in the call center?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." So I was doing my degree in Wollongong and getting the train up to Sydney.
So what degree were you
I was
studying?
doing an arts degree,
Okay.
so English and communications. And yeah, I was doing that and then getting the train up to North Sydney, which was 2 hours each way, to go and work in the call centre. That was a couple of days a week.
That's commitment.
Yeah, yeah, it was. And that was my first sort of proper job. And little did I know that was going to kick off a corporate career of about 12 years in corporate communications. So initially, I started working in the call centre, which was a really good grounding, really great in terms of customer service and learning what was great customer service and what was pretty average, and having to deal with customer needs then and there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Sometimes
quite stressful.
Yeah, sometimes grumpy,
Yeah.
and some people really lovely, and that I think really, like in hindsight, really helped in terms of the way that I speak to people on the phone.
Yeah.
In terms of being a clear communicator, all that grounding in what at the time I was like, oh, I work in a call centre, or people might sort of go, I don't want to do that sort of work. Was actually a really, really good grounding for customer service, and also having to learn a whole bunch of products and all this sort of stuff that I wasn't comfortable with. I was 19 and learning about global shares and all this sort of stuff, and for the money savvy people, they'll get this joke, but I didn't know the difference between global equities and global shares. There's no difference. They're the same thing.
I'm not going to comment
right?
on any of this, so I'm going to show my ignorance.
So I had a client go, I'm wanting the unit price on global equities, and I'm like, I'm thinking we don't have those. And I'm like, turns out we did. We really did.
So a big learning curve for what was to come.
Absolutely, like jumping the deep end. So that was really, really helpful. And when I graduated 18 months later, I applied for a junior comms role in their marketing team, and got that role, which was great.
So within the same organisation?
Yeah, within the same organisation. And that was fantastic. The manager I was reporting to, I still go back to some of the things that she says to me in the way that I operate my business today. One of the big things she used to say to me, she was tough, but nice tough.
Yeah.
And she always used to say to me, like, don't come to me with a problem, come to me with a solution. Yeah. So it was always, again, sort of thinking now about using all those little bits of information from people that I've met along the way. She would, I'd, rather than sort of going, oh, it's not going to work, this isn't going to work. It's like, okay, rather than getting mixed up in the
dwelling on that
drama of, something's not working. It's like, okay, well, what are we going to do to move forward? Yeah. There's no point going, oh, well, this is the problem and it's their fault, or maybe in a small business, sort of environment, this client's been difficult or whatever. Yeah. If you're in that headspace or mentality, trying to move forward from that and go, okay, well, yes, this is the circumstances, but what are we going to do to move forward?
So how long were you in that communications role?
I was in that role for 2 or 3 years. Yep. Maybe 2 years. She ended up leaving the company and asked me to join her at a different organisation. And worked with her again for another few years after that before travelling overseas. Yep. And by that point, I was probably late 20s, and had missed out on that whole gap year or travelling, to the UK or whatnot.
Freedom.
Yeah, so I ended up doing that a bit later on.
Did you have any issues, sort of thinking, I'm going to leave my job, am I concerned about this, or?
It was sort of pre-GFC, and I don't think it was sort of as heightened, like that awareness that, you know, I was probably still a bit naive going, sure, should be right. Yeah. It'll all work out, as it does. It always works out. Ended up getting, you know, having worked in financial services for maybe 6 years by that point, ended up working in financial services in the UK. So rather than sort of doing the pub work or whatnot, the roles that I did overseas ended up sort of just quite nicely enhancing.
So rolled over.
Yeah, absolutely. And having that sort of international experience. And I worked in Edinburgh for just over 12 months. And yeah, sort of jumping in the deep end and having to learn new lingo and a different work environment and how people like to work, all that sort of stuff.
Any little inklings about running your own business at that point?
Oh yeah, it already. Yeah, let's go back.
Let's go back.
So when I was working in Sydney, so in financial services, we're talking superannuation, allocated pensions, credit cards,
really?
You know, like
exciting
cash
stuff.
funds, you know, like all that sort of not terribly sexy stuff. And a few of my friends were, you know, had businesses or were, you know, needing a marketing flyer or running an event or something like that, and they needed some help writing a website, and I said, I can do that. And then my brother said, well, you should really charge them for that sort of stuff. You should get yourself set up with an ABN. And he's a teacher, and I think he probably saw it maybe earlier than I did, and he goes, actually, there's money to be made.
There's something there,
And I was like, oh, well, you know, I guess if people want to pay me, I guess I should probably set it all up.
Yeah.
And so I'd actually set it up in 2004, and I was 24 at the time, and pre the days of side hustles and all that sort of stuff.
Social media.
It was just there, and I thought, well, if people are going to pay me, I may as well do it properly. And it wasn't that too big an effort to set it all up, and came up with a business name with the help from a girl from work. So I can't even take credit for my own business name. She came up with the doozy. And so that was all. It was always there. Yeah. Set up a very basic website, and in hindsight, it was pretty basic.
I think we could all say that about
and even the copy
website.
on it. I mean, I read it recently, and how embarrassing. Anyway, and so came back from the UK. Still had the little business. Every so often, something would come along, and I would send out an invoice, and but it wasn't until maybe fast forward another five or 6 years. Still working in corporate, still dabbling with a few side projects, more at this point for my creativity and my interest that
beyond finance.
Yeah, beyond finance. And by that time I'd moved into manufacturing as well, and not-for-profit, and so I'd sort of branched out a little bit more. But from a creative aspect of being able to write under my own name, or just topics that were more up my alley, having the business sort of really spoke to that, so that was helpful. But I guess when everything changed significantly was being in a corporate environment and being made redundant a couple of times, and then working contract work, so only really getting 12-month gigs, and
so not having that stability anymore.
Well, the workforce had changed so dramatically. So post GFC, things nothing was as secure anymore, and a lot of organisations weren't hiring people permanently. It was just 6-month contract, 12-month contract. We'll see how it goes. It was all very non-committal. And after I had my first son in 2014, I'd been working at NAB before he was born on contract. And thought, we didn't have any family in Melbourne at the time, and I just thought, how am I going to go back to a corporate gig?
How's it all going to work?
Which isn't guaranteed anyway. I may as well give this business a go and try and fit it in around the commitments that we have, and the time that I have, because it just made so much more sense. So in the last 5 years it's really taken off, and I guess if I think about what it looked like in 2004 when I started, to what it is today. I mean, there is no resemblance of what it is today, and nor did I think it was ever going to be
what it is.
Like, I don't think I'd really even thought about it.
Did you ever think that you'd be a business owner, like before all this? You know how you kind of, high school, uni days, you kind of think how your life's going to pan out. Was business owner ever there?
No,
that's like me. Yeah, I was exactly the same.
Do you know what? I think I was a real loyal employee. Like, I was on the bandwagon. Like, if I was working with somebody,
employee of the month multiple times.
I'd like to think so. If I was really enjoying, particularly if I was encouraged by a manager and I had really good colleagues, like, I loved going to an office and having office banter and, the odd team lunch. I love that. But now I wouldn't give up any of my small business owner perks to go back to an office environment. I'm really happy.
Once you made the decision to kind of, I'm going to give this a good hard go.
Yeah.
What do you reckon was the hardest thing?
I think putting myself out there.
Yeah.
Because when I started the business again in its very infant state in Sydney, by the time I'd had my first son, I was in Melbourne.
Yeah.
All the business connections and mainly work connections were Sydney based.
Yeah.
And so I really had to start from scratch in terms of networking, and not being a natural networker and finding it all a little bit awkward. I didn't really know quite where to start.
Yeah.
And I didn't know any other copywriters. I didn't know anybody that had their own copywriting business, to sort of, see what they were doing and see what worked, all that sort of stuff. So I ended up meeting you. You're one of the first. I went to a couple of different networking things, but then you and I clicked, and I came and did a co-working day and met some of the other women in She Will Shine. And I think that really boosted my confidence to sort of see people that weren't, coming from a corporate background, it was very, all the events were always very formal, and it was, and sort of then to meet people that were in a similar boat, and particularly mums that had been in business, and I could see where they were at.
Yeah. So being able to sort of associate with people who were just like you.
Yeah, and sort of getting that encouragement that they go, oh yeah, we remember having a 12-month, 12-month-old or 6-month-old or however old he was at the time, and could see them a few years down the track and see them managing the work-life kid juggle, and be able to have a successful business and be able to be there for their kids, for canteen duty or whatever, the Christmas concert or whatever, to go, oh, actually, this can work. Yeah. This system, this process can work, and I can see other people doing it successfully, so why can't I?
Yeah.
So I think that's always been...
It's the whole, you can't be what you can't see. So suddenly you were seeing this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And to be honest, up until that point, I hadn't been around people where they go, yeah, you can, I do it, you can do it. Yeah. Like, why, there's nothing sort of holding you back in terms of, being able to do that successfully. And I guess the difference then was connecting and collaborating with the right people. And one of the things I really enjoy about what I do is sort of being able to work with clients that I really click with, or graphic designers or web developers, that we all just work well together.
What do you think that is?
I don't know whether it's... I know working with other mums, it's like, we got stuff to do. Like, let's just, we know we're good at what we do. Let's get the job done.
Yeah.
The client's happy, but we've got other things to be doing. And, let's just, there's no faff around it. It's just like, let's just do it and do it well. And, we've all got what we need. We all communicate pretty well, because we don't have that time to faff around, really.
Do you think it's because there's a similar outlook on life, like in a broader sort of scheme, in that we're all doing this because we're good at what we do, but we've also got other responsibilities that we need to attend to.
Yeah.
So we just, like you said, you just get it done.
Yeah.
And you understand that from the other person.
Yeah.
So it's just like a mutual understanding. It's not even said, it's just a mutual understanding.
Yeah.
That goes.
And I think for a long time, I was like, particularly I look back now on working in corporate and working with mums when I wasn't a mum, and I feel so bad how probably judgy I was, going, oh, out they go, and now I'm like, mate, you were juggling drop off and transport and getting here for 8:30 and amazing. And now it's like, I think working with other mums in particular, but other women in general, we know that even having a small business or a big business, it's not the only thing in our lives. We've got other things that we care about, and hobbies, family, partners, all that sort of stuff. And having a business or being a business owner is just one of those.
One aspect of that in this grand scheme. Yeah.
And it's in some ways it's a means to an end.
Yeah.
Like, we know what we do things well, we like to do it, we like to work, but that's not the be all and end all.
Yeah.
And we're not all necessarily trying to build multi-million, global businesses. It's just doing work that we enjoy with people that we like.
And it's a piece of the puzzle of our life.
Totally.
That's gold. A piece of the puzzle of our life. Wow.
Hashtag, yeah. That will be today's post.
That is today's post. And so, like, one thing that I really admire, especially within the copywriting community that we have within She Will Shine, but also in the larger freelancing community with copywriters, I have been amazed, copywriters in particular, but there's also photographers, the collaboration that happens between different, like, it's not about competition, it's about collaboration, which is obviously very She Will Shine-esque. But in particular, these industries.
Yeah.
Do you think that, like, do you have a reason? Is there a reason why, Kate?
Our photographer friends might disagree, but I always think that copywriters are just like the nicest bunch of people.
Slightly biased.
We're all probably massive introverts as well, and all very similar. But
very excited to find each other.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because when I was taking maternity leave from my own business and trying to find other copywriters to refer work to in that period where I was going to take time out, I could not find anybody. I could not find a single soul that had a similar setup to me. And here I am with like collaborations with graphic designers going, look, I've got work that is definitely going to come your way, trying to find anybody that was either that pitched themselves as a copywriter for one, or sort of was happy to have that workflow.
Yeah.
So I was really surprised, and it was really, really hard. But then fast forward like another year or so, and we've got maybe 6 copywriters in She Will Shine. Plus I've also expanded my own network beyond She Will Shine within the copywriting community. I've got literally 100 people I could refer work to. And everybody has their own sort of niche, whether they're health copywriters or education or business or whatnot. With confidence, I've always got someone I can refer work to, whether I'm at capacity or it's a subject that I know that it might not be,
it's not your expertise.
Not my expertise. And everyone's sort of pretty nice about it. And one of the things I remember you saying to me the first day we met was that there is enough work for everybody. And it is so true.
See how wise I am.
You are so wise. But that always stuck with me. And I think I'm not naturally a super competitive person. I like to see other people do well as well, but not at the expense of
someone else.
Like that.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me, that there's so many clients that need our help, heaps, and there really is enough work to go around without having to be cutthroat and mean about that's just not how I like to do business.
It's not who you are.
Yeah.
Just kind of, you mentioned how, so you started in Wollongong, born in Wollongong, working in Sydney, and then you moved to Melbourne around the same time that you had your first child.
2011 I moved to Melbourne, and then had my son 3 years after that. So and then back in 2016, we made the decision to move back to Wollongong. So we had, my dad passed away, and there was a really big time of reflection. I was also 6 months pregnant with my second son, a huge time of upheaval and a time to sort of go bigger picture, what are we doing? Where do we want to be? Where are our family? And made what was a really tough decision to move back to Wollongong. Having, built such, from a business point of view, built up such great connections in Melbourne. But we've been back there nearly 3 years now, and the great thing has been knowing that the same model applies wherever you go. So it's taken time, a bit of a slow burn to replicate, sort of those networks and collaborations in a regional area. Metro certainly has its, different way of doing business than in a regional city, but slowly but surely, I'm getting more and more clients from Wollongong, and people have come to me knowing that I'm specifically in Wollongong. Initially, I was sort of like, I'll keep it vague. I can work from anywhere, so I won't say where I am. But now my client base is probably 50-50, Wollongong and
I was going to say, but your Melbourne clients obviously still do work for as well.
Absolutely. One of my first collaborations with a She Will Shine member, Ren from Gosh. She's based in Brunswick, I'm in Wollongong. We still work together, all the time. And also like learning from that experience in terms of the type of people that she works with and her client base, and how she and her business partner work together, and how I sort of slide in and have that complementary skill set, has actually been a model for me when I'm meeting other agencies to collaborate with, going, okay, this is how I like to work. These are the sorts of people I like to work with. Who else is like that?
Where's that good fit?
So that's actually been like, although it was one of the first collaborations, it's that foundation and that sort of structure has really put me in good stead when I'm modelling that again in Wollongong.
Can you imagine? This is a question I've never asked you, but if you hadn't moved to Wollongong and you hadn't had your own business, so you hadn't moved back, I should say, to Wollongong, do you think the transition, I know it wasn't an easy one, but it was made easier because you had the flexibility within your own business. Do you think if you had still been in corporate, that would have been as smooth, I guess?
I think the opportunities that have come from having my own business and the number of conversations it started has really been helpful. I think if I had waited for the right job, or there's not that many corporates I guess there, but if I was waiting for the right job to come up, I'd be probably still twiddling my thumbs waiting, like in terms of location and salary and all that sort of stuff. I've been not lucky.
You've worked hard
I've
for it.
worked hard for it.
Yeah.
But having the business as a conversation opener to say, look, this is what I do, and then people go, oh, right, okay. And also going to co-working spaces and meeting people in different business networks locally, and also some of the organisations and some of the clients that I work with in Wollongong. Every new thing that happens, whether it's a new client or a new connection, just opens that conversation.
And it opens another door, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Because you never know where conversations lead.
No, so it's been really interesting, and now I've just sort of reflected in the last couple of months that I'm finding more and more people in my tribe, so to speak, that are all the like-minded people that I felt I really loved here in Melbourne, and they were really struggled to let go of that.
No, don't let go of it. We're here for you.
But starting to find those similar personalities in Wollongong,
but I think that comes with putting yourself out there. Because we would never have met that day if you hadn't come to a She'll Shine open day. So you made the effort, you got yourself there. Do you know what I mean? And it's not always easy to, I don't know anyone, or what am I going to do here? but you do it anyway.
Yes.
And that's what leads to these relationships
Yep.
that you nurture over time, and then they become your tribe, etc., etc. So
Yep.
you've done, like, you're doing that.
Yes. So, yeah, and I think now it's starting to see the work pay off,
Yep.
particularly, you know, in Wollongong, to see that some of those relationships are now, you know, proving fruitful
Yep.
from, you know, a new project or
Yep.
a new collaboration. It has definitely been a slow burn.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sort of feels like it's getting back to probably where it was in Melbourne.
Yeah. But we always welcome you back
I know.
with open arms.
My other hometown,
that's
I call
right.
it. My other hometown.
And every time I know it's like, welcome home. Oh, it's not a home, but still welcome home.
Yes.
Awesome. So, Kate, I guess I don't even like to say this though. I was going to say the only thing that's holding you back to doing more is your children, but I don't like saying that because
Time-wise.
it is. But
Time-wise,
do you know
yeah.
exactly what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we've decided to do this because we want to
Yeah.
be with our children. So
Yes.
it's not a great question, to be honest. But, you know, the frustration of, you know, getting pick up, drop off, childcare, because they're very young still.
Yeah, still preschool.
Yeah.
Going back to that earlier comment, I can about seeing other women, how they do the juggle, see how they, you know, that might be in terms of age of their children, I can see a few years down the track to see how things might get easier or more complicated, however way you look at it, change. But the business can evolve yet again when there's a bit more time. Like I keep thinking, wow, having Monday to Friday, even if it's 9 till 3, going, wow, that'd be amazing.
You're able to have more structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did say to Stacey Price last week that, you know, I'm just sort of working equivalent of 1 day a week. And she said, yeah, but that's a 27-hour day. And I'm like, yeah, it's a huge day, 27 hours. So yeah, I sort of feel like things could be a little bit more structured because the kids will be in a more structured day, whereas sort of just grabbing the time when you can grab it. So yeah, I think things will just evolve again.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll
The
see.
next stage.
Yeah.
Thoughts, fun and challenges.
So I've been told.
Yes. Oh, trust me. Yeah. But thank you so much, Kate. We love having you back here in Melbourne.
Pleasure.
And now on the couch, which we're very excited about. Only 2 years. It took 2 years, but she's here. But thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. And I'm sure it's not the last you've heard of our lovely Kate O'Mealy. She's also our New South Wales ambassador for She Will Shine, which I'm very proud of. I'm very honoured. But thanks for joining us today, Kate, and I hope everyone has enjoyed Kate's story, and we'll see you next time on the She Will Shine podcast.